Alright, hello everybody. This is Ivan from the Bed Band. You are listening to the song A Way of Life from the Bed Band's first album called Adventure. And this is also a new show called the Bed Band Review. This is the first episode. We are going to go back in time and check out the Bed Band's first album, Adventure, in depth. You're gonna get to know everything you've ever wanted to know about this album. Here's the album cover. I designed this. Of course, it's got the early iconic peace sign, bed frame, bed band logo. Here's me around this era, 2013, 2014. I believe I was about 27 during this time recording this album. I was living in Detroit, Michigan. Here's downtown Detroit. I was in Midtown. Here's my apartment. This was an awesome old kind of townhouse thing that was, I think, built in 1891. So it was a duplex. I think that's the word I'm looking for. And then, so it had 3 apartments on the right side, 1 on each floor, and 3 apartments on the left side, 1 on each floor. So I was on the right side, 2nd floor. You can see right there, that window on the right. There's another one right on the corner next to it that is the little corner I recorded this album in. And yeah, here's the inside of that room. Just to the left is that corner, and here's a close-up with the setup. This is like the holy grail setup for this album. I had my Edwards SG guitar there on the left. Really cool, kind of like copy of a Gibson. I had really great pickups. I don't have the guitar anymore, but I had it for a long time, and I used it on a lot of recordings. And a vintage, really small Silvertone amp. It must have been like a 6-inch speaker, maybe. But it sounded great. And then just that little Yamaha 4-track cassette recorder. Definitely used a lot of those little percussion things. I had my Shure SM57. Had a really super cheap ribbon microphone there, and a couple other things. Here's a little zoomed out version. There's another little Fender Champ amp there, and that's like the bedroom with the recording setup specifically for this album, which is really cool. Here's me with the bass that I used for this album. It's a old vintage Kingston bass that I got at the Music Castle in, I think, Royal Oak, Michigan. That's where I used to take guitar lessons in high school. And that bass was like $99 with a vintage Fender hardshell case that was kind of falling apart, but it was a super cool bass. It was a really good deal. It was a short scale. It was really lightweight. Loved playing that thing. Also recently sold that. And yeah, so that's me actually on my bed, and just that little corner and that end there I'm sitting on is, facing those windows with the gear. So I literally recorded this album on the bed. Hence the Bed Band. And here's another little view of that corner. There's a new tape machine here, which I do believe I used for some parts of this album, but it had some problems, I think. And then this was my first experience with a 4-tape, sort of. I tinkered around with them, but never actually made a project on them. So I was bouncing 4 tracks onto 1 track into GarageBand on this laptop, and then bouncing that back onto 1 track back into the tape machine. That's how I was like doing overdubs. So it's just super lo-fi, and you can see my OP1 synthesizer there in front of the computer. That I use that a lot on this album. It's got just really cool little lo-fi synth noises and sequencing and stuff. There's my little tiny living room in that apartment there. Here is my kitchen. It's not my bike. This is my little kitchen table where I wrote a lot of songs and hung out. That's another view of my living room. Some records up. There's me screwing around. Yeah, this Hondo I used a lot on this album, absolutely, and this right here. So yeah, and then to get back to the album, it's 16 songs. I was doing another project around this time called Whatever, which was my rock band at the time, and that band was kind of breaking up, and I was also just looking to do my own thing, or I just had these songs that I just, I don't know, experimenting. Anyway, so here's another guitar, is an old K that I used on this, for a lot of acoustic guitar stuff. Yeah, and then, right, so, I also had a studio at North End Studios. That's where I typically would record stuff, so there's me in my studio. I guess I was kind of in a rut with my, doing stuff there, and I was just kind of switching up my process, and I love this album. The sound is just so cool, and it's really got, for me, it really has that freak folk, just super lo-fi, homemade, but also like very cool, very special album. I know, for me, I really always wanted to have an album that was, I was really trying to make a kind of a freak folk album. I love like John Frusciante's first album. I love Devangelo Banhart's, early, I love all his stuff, but at that time I was very much into his early stuff. That kind of homemade music always inspired me. Beatles demos, early T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex stuff, that very whimsical lo-fi acoustic-y freak folk thing, and I think I did a decent job with this album. It also probably some early Bright Eyes maybe would be in there, and even I would say like early Modest Mouse, like that's some of that really lo-fi stuff, and just kind of pay homage to that kind of music and that style. It's in that lineage of songs, and this was really just like dedicated to that kind of sound and that thing, and I think this album really is a great first album for the Bed Bands. Really captures that Bed Band spirit. And you can see the cassette there. I did release this on cassette. It was very limited. I just have one copy that's for me now. I'll probably release it at some time. and I'd love to put it on vinyl at some point, but for now it's just on the internet. Check out thebedband.org. Check out thebedband.bandcamp.com. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And check out the album. I hope you love it. Thanks.